Hello everyone, this is your Adobe Illustrator Marketing Challenge, and today we are showing you how to make promo flyers with type hierarchy. So if you don't know what type hierarchy is, it's basically just the way that we read things. It's using typography with a very intentional meaning to stack things up to tell people, to look here, look there, and then look over here. So we're going to kind of guide the eye through a promo flyer today. We are working in Adobe Illustrator, and if you want to work along with me, go ahead and click on the link in the description for the source file, and it will give you, that's right, this source file right here. It has a lot of random content on it, and we are going to use type hierarchy to bring this all together. So first thing that I want to teach you is actually a little hack that I learned the other day. And that is, if we start typing right away here in Adobe Illustrator, if we grab the type tool and we click and start typing, it's just going to put it in Myriad, right? So it's putting in Myriad Pro, and that's kind of the place that it sits. But let's say that I want to use like this font up here, right? Which is an Adobe font. So what I'm going to do is all I need to do is go to type. Oh, Andrew, have you forgotten? Type, and then we're going to go to, oh no, hold on. Maybe it isn't preferences. Let me go ahead and try preferences. So Control K, which is preferences. Oh, Andrew, why are you breaking your brain right now? Hold on. Window, got it. Type, got it. Character styles, got it. Character style options. Let me make sure this is it. We got it. We got it. We're there, everyone. I'm trying to give you the bonus and I already biffed it. So again, one more time, it is in window. Then you go to type, and then you're going to go to character styles. Click on this little hamburger menu and go to character style options. And what happens here is we're able to go to basic character formats, and we can change it to any font we want. So let's say that I want to type in this font right here. Semi-condensed looks good, or maybe I want to go to bold. And what's cool is it's going to update everything that is in that default basic format, right? So if you've already typed a whole bunch of stuff, you can just type in and create the format very easily. So I'm actually going to do that, and I'm going to change it to regular. It will update everything over here that is in the basic character format. And then maybe I want the size to be a little bit smaller. So we're going to take that down to 10. Actually, let's do it bigger, 14. We can change the leading if we want to add a little more space. Lots of clicking happening today. And then maybe we want to have kerning maybe to optical, and that will just kind of tighten up the kerning for us a little bit. So now let's hit OK. And check this out. When I start typing, it automatically is in the font that I want with all of the settings that I want. Very easy and very quick. And now if I open another document, when I come back into Illustrator, it will save that as my regular preference. And so anytime that I type something or paste in content, it will use that basic character style. Magic. That's one of my favorite hacks that I've learned recently. All right, so let's hop in and talk about type hierarchy. Hierarchy is a way of understanding how to read things on the page. Today we're making a promo flyer, and it looks like we have a bunch of content here that's kind of just got thrown on maybe by the client. So we have a title, maybe end of summer party. This is maybe a tagline. We have some copy here, as well as a link, and then we've got an RSVP and a date. So let's go ahead and start labeling these. This is helpful to me when I'm looking for typography to kind of label things, and then we can use boxes to lay out where we want it to go. So I'm going to use some shorthand here. We're going to use H1 for our header, which is the biggest thing on the page. So H1 is going to be the header, the biggest thing on the page. Now, I like to call something like this kind of tagline. This is called a deck, and this comes from newspaper. So newspaper, we see a headline and then a little piece underneath that's like an explanation. That is called a deck. So we're going to use deck as the second one. Then from here, we're going to come down, and this will be our body copy. So body copy is basically just a big paragraph or whatever you have the most of. Usually, again, if you're working in newspaper, it's the article, right? We have the headline, we have the little explanation underneath, and then we have the actual article. From there, we have a bunch of kind of supporting elements, and I want these to be maybe a subhead. So a subhead would be a one step below a header, right? So we have a subhead. Maybe here we have an info as well, an info level. Oops. Info. And usually what we do is these end up kind of functioning by size, right? And even just looking at this, okay, I'm gonna cut back to my face. We're gonna do something real quick, a little test. Okay, I'm gonna look back at my face right here, and we are going to look at this document really quickly and let me know which ones you see in what order. Really quick. All right, close your eyes and open. Okay, how did you read this? Did you look at H1 deck body copy subhead info, right? That should have been the way that we read that. What's cool is even if we move these around, so even if we take all of these pieces here, and I'm just gonna put them in a different order, right? Let's do the H1 a little bit bigger. Even this way, when I cut back and forth from my head and then boom, you should still read that the same way. H1 deck subhead body copy info, right? Same way. It's about sizing and about kind of having a variance to guide the eye on your document. So I have these laid out and I'm going to move the copy over to the side. And the reason I'm doing that is why can't I zoom here? There we go. I'm moving this over to the side because I am actually going to just lay out my document using placeholders. So I'm going to grab a box here and just make this a light gray. We're using our rectangle tool. And I know that I want my H1, which is my header, to maybe be up here, nice and large. Our deck, I probably maybe want to be in the corner down here. So let's do the deck down here. And what can be helpful is just color coding these really quick. So this is an easy way to do your layout, is just try to do some color coding. So body copy is probably going to go somewhere over here. I think this is a good block to put our body copy in. Our subhead would be the date. I think that the subhead actually could be pretty good right here. And I'm thinking that maybe I do this in 2 sections. And so it may end up being something like that, right? So I want to lay it out. From there, I probably want to put this link in there, which is our info. And the info, I probably actually want to use a QR code. So I'm going to use just a square right here and make sure that we have a good QR code that is set up for us to put content in. I also want to have the RSVP by a certain date, and that will go along with the info, maybe right here. So it's looking pretty balanced, but the deck is feeling a little bit off kilter, right? And this is how we find a good hierarchy and a good visual balance is think about it. If we put a pin and balanced it on that pin from the center of the document, where's it going to fall? Right now, it's going to lean to the left, right? It's going to fall, hold on, other way. It's going to lean to the left. It's going to fall over and tilt to the left because it feels very heavy on this side. So what I can do to balance that out is maybe we want to do that deck and pull it up here to just give it a little bit of balance, right? Maybe we're going to do something like this and see if we can space this out to have a little bit more balance in our document. So this is already looking very good. And now what I need to do is just plug in the pieces, right? Super easy. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start dragging this content over. Now it is in the back, so I'm going to select all these and go to Arrange, Send to Back. And from there, I'm going to drag my content in. So if you just try to drag the content in right away, it's going to be harder to find balance. But by working this way, it's actually going to be really easy to find the visual balance of your document and your content to make sure that everything is going to kind of work together and be copacetic. So 10 points for using copacetic, minus 10 points for saying 10 words. All right, let's go ahead and hop in here. And what I want to do is I'm just going to bring these over and start to make my hierarchy, right? So we're going to go H1, then the deck is the next biggest. And then we have our body copy and then our info. I'm just going to change these all to black so that we can see it. All right, so let's go ahead and figure out what fonts we want. So let's look at the copy and we are going to find the perfect font based on feeling. And each feeling is going to evoke a different trait And we can use Adobe fonts, thankfully, to filter out those traits and find the right font. So our H1 is going to be right here. It is yellow and it is end of summer party. You can see that exclamation mark. It's yelling end of summer party. It's going to be fun. It's maybe has some movement to it, something that's a little bolder and in your face. We're yelling it. So let's go ahead and find a font that works for us. We do have a question from our live chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for being here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for the Adobe Live channel. If you're watching on Behance during the live show every day at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, you can ask questions. So a question is this how you usually make your promo flyers? Yes. Everything that I lay out in Illustrator or even InDesign, I do like this. I always lay it out with boxes first, and then I can plug in the content. It just helps me to understand how the weight is going to work with all the pieces. So let's go ahead and open up Adobe Fonts, and we're going to go to, oh, here's the YouTube channel, subscribe, fonts.adobe.com. And what I can do is I can check out these ones that are trending. This is actually really fun and could work for our project, but I want to show you a little bit more. And we're going to go to Browse All Fonts. All right, now we're thinking about those traits that we just talked about. Fun, movement, bold, right? For that big title. So we actually have some tags here that we can look through. So let's view 12 more. And there's horror, ornaments, calligraphy, geometric. I want something that is fun. There we go. We're having a party. So there is a fun category and I can click on that category and it will, boom, filter in all of the fun fonts that I can work with. I already love Pi. That is super fun. Love Hobo. Gotta have it. Ooh, Shaloops. Shaloops is the greatest name I've ever heard. So we're going to click on this one. This is super fun. All you need to do is click right here and it will activate those fonts automatically in Adobe Illustrator. So we're going to use Shaloops for our H1. So all I do is select my H1. I'm going to hit Control T to open up the type panel and type in Shaloops. There we go. It's so fun. So it's so fun, and Shaloops is going to be our headline. And what we can do is we can select the headline that we have here, use the eyedropper tool to click on that H1. So the eyedropper tool does pick up colors, but it also will pick up formats, which is pretty cool. All right, we're going to stretch this text box all the way out so that we have a nice text box, and go ahead and shrink down the text box. I'm going to put that in the center and use the scale tool, which is just S, to click and drag down to the center. Oops, lost a little bit there. There we go. And we're going to center align this up here. So I'm going to make sure our alignment is centered and our text is centered, and boom, end of summer party. Already looking fun. Already looking really fun. So we have our H1. So as we look at this, we can see a couple things. It's fun. It's got some organic kind of wobble to it. It looks a little bit hand done. And so for the deck, we want something that is complementary, right? We're keeping the same story. The deck that I would look at, oh no, I lost my colors, but I believe that the deck that we were looking at was the dates, if I'm remembering correctly. So the deck, we want something that is complementary. And I would want something maybe within this Shaloops that is a little bit lighter. What's great to use as a hack is to come in and select the deck and then just use that eyedropper tool, and maybe Shaloops has a different version. Yeah, so Shaloops has 3 different versions. So if we look here, that's not necessarily complementary. That's too contrasty to what we're using in our H1. But if we do it a little bit bolder, it's a little bit closer. This is still not working for me to give information in a deck like dates. So what we're gonna need to do is find a font that complements. It was Creativity for All, thank you. So Creativity for All is down here. So Creativity for All, gonna be a big pop, and we want something that kind of complements this. Now, let's look at the traits, and this is how we find a perfect hierarchy. It is pretty thick, it's a little bit wonky, and it has like a hand-done feel to it. So what I can do is with this selected, I can come up to our type panel, click on the little arrow down, and then go to find more, or I can filter through my fonts that I have. We're just gonna filter through the fonts that I have because I'm pretty sure I have something for this. We can click here and we can actually start to filter in. So I know that I want a sans serif. I don't want anything that is a serif. I might want a handwritten. So let's go ahead and click on handwritten and see what we can find. I want something that isn't too bold, but isn't light, right? I want it to have contrast. So we're gonna select something in the middle. And then I want something, as we look here, it looks like this is very tall, right? It's stretched vertically. So maybe I want something that's a little wider to provide some contrast. So I'm going to come back in here and then do a little bit more of a wide font right there. All right, a little bit too much. Let's do a medium so that it isn't as tall. That looks pretty good to me. And we do want something that maybe is regular contrast, low contrast. This is pretty even lines. All right, so let's go ahead and scroll down and see if we can find anything that looks good. Oops. So as I scroll through these, you'll see that it does update live. You can see the live update as you scroll through, and we can see if we can find something that feels like it is complementary. So as I look through here just with my eye, I think that I liked this one. So I like this because it has some similarities that go together. So check this out. We have the A right here is very similar, right? So we can see that the A that we're using has the same kind of tail over the top, and that's what we want. We want some kind of relation and similarity. So it's not quite thick enough, but what I can do is just add a stroke right here to that, and it will make it a little bit bigger for me to be able to work with. I'm going to put this on 2 lines and then just blow it up a little bit, and that will make it so that it's a little less kind of convoluted. All right, so that's looking good, and I can just bring this up here into the corner, and I'm pretty happy with how that is turning out. All right, from there we want to do our next one, which is going to be the subhead, which is right here. And for the subhead, I think that I do want to use a version of what we're using in the header. So I'm going to use a version of what's in the header, just use that eyedropper tool one more time. And then with Chaloops, I'm going to take it down to medium, and that will give me a little bit of recognition with where we started. So I might want to put this in all caps. Let's see what happens. Yeah, let's put this in all caps, and that will give us a little more contrast between the two. And I do like the way that it's stacked vertically right there. So let's go ahead and just take the leading down. And I did make these all text boxes, and I apologize for that. We can click and just resize those. If you want to outline them or kind of change them, you can totally do that on your own. All right, so we're fitting that into the space. Looks pretty good, and you can see that there is a good relation, but they are different, right? So the deck we are going to do here, and then the subhead we are going to use Chaloops, all caps, right there. We're going to do heading here. And it's nice to outline this because then we're able to see how it kind of flows all together. Body copy, I want something that's readable. I want something that's readable, but I don't necessarily want a serif, right? I still want a sans serif to keep it in the same zone. So I'm going to select this, and then I am going to find a nice sans serif that maybe has a little bit less contrast, but still looks good. So we're going to go to sans serif. We are going to go to normal low contrast. And maybe we want something that is a little more condensed. That's way too condensed. Let's do something that's normal and all the different versions. So let's scroll through here and see if there's anything that feels right. What I'm kind of looking for actually is the A. I'm looking for that A to come through and have this similar kind of hangover on the top. So actually, let's do hobo. I think hobo has enough of that personality, and you can see that it has that same A that we're looking for. So I'm going to look for a little bit of a bolder one. We're going to do regular and then pull this over right there. So that's looking good. We can use our eyedropper tool to grab the next hierarchy that we have. This is such a fun hierarchy. In the info, maybe we want to just pick up one of the ones that we've used before. Maybe we want it to be in this Chaloops, but very, very light. So we can, again, use that eyedropper tool, take it down to regular Chaloops, and not all caps. We just want it to be regular sentence case. So I'll pull this there and then scroll down. All right, so this is looking pretty good. And there's a lot of refinement that we could do here, but I just want to make sure that our hierarchy is looking good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of these boxes just to make sure that our hierarchy is looking pretty balanced and all working together. And it looks like it is. I'm not mad at all about how this is balanced out with the hierarchy, especially how it looks over here. Go ahead and zoom that up a little bit. So we have our hierarchy right here. Now we can start really working with this document. I do want to blow this up a little bit to fill that space. And with that, I do want to space it a little bit more. Now we have a list at the end here that we want to show you how to make a quick bulleted list. All I need to do is I'll just make a new text box. I'll cut that out of the text box and then Control V to paste it. Oops. All right, so we have it pasted, and what we can do is we are going to select it all, and then over here in our properties panel, this is actually new and it's actually behind my head, right here, right there, you can click on bullets, and it is a new feature here in Illustrator that will, yes, that's right, make bullets right there for you. So all we need to do is hit enter, and it will make it into a new bullet so we can have a nice little bulleted list here. So I'm gonna get bounce houses, that's one thing, yes, and more. All right, so that is going to make it into a bulleted list for us so that we can kind of work very easily. If we want to change it, we can over here. I need to move my head again. We can actually find different options, Andrew. We can find different options over here. If we want a open circle, if we want a square, we can do that all right there. So we're going to bring this down over here, maybe drag this out a little bit, and then balance out our hierarchy. So it's looking good. I do want to give this some more space on the leading. So we're just going to use that. I have a hotkey on my mouse. If you're wondering how that's happening, I have a hotkey on my mouse that allows me to do that. All right, so it looks pretty good and it's starting to look pretty balanced to me. Now let's go ahead and balance out a couple of these other pieces. And that would be the creativity for all, I think is gonna need to go down in this bottom corner. So I'm gonna kind of pull it down here to have a little more balance, and then maybe our text wants to align at the bottom as well. So I'm gonna pull this in so that we have a little bit of space. Now this is called a widow or an orphan, means that it's just one word. We never want to have those on a document. So I'm gonna pull that out so we have a little bit more space and then increase the leading to give us some nice space right there, balance everything out. All right, we have our title here that I'm going to bring over, and then we do want to make sure that there is an RSVP that's happening. And the cool thing is we can use a great tool called Adobe Express to generate a QR code real quick. So instead of putting the link in there, we're going to grab this code, and then all you need to do is go to express.adobe.com. And from there, we're going to use a quick action. This is going to be super easy, super quick. We're going to come here and click on QR code, generate QR code. We're going to paste that link that we have right here. Oh, I do need to have the HTTPS. And from there, Andrew, pull it together. We can pick a color, or we can pick kind of this circle one. I think the circle one is more fun. Pick a color. Let's do a fun red, and then we'll hit generate QR code. When we hit download, it is going to download that PNG for us. And I can come over into Illustrator and very easily and very quickly just open that, Control O, and go over to the download. And then we are just going to click that real quick. All right, so we have our QR code here. I'm going to copy and then paste. And then as I scale this down, we have a super fun QR code to sit in that space right there. So it looks like as this gets smaller, it's getting a little bit unreadable. So we're going to take it up to medium just to make sure that people can actually read it and engage with it to make sure that they remember. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool and grab some of these fun colors. I do probably want to keep this border up here. And to do a color palette, sometimes I'll grab a color and then use the color slider to just slide it to another color of that same value, right? So we're staying in the same place. So we've got the nice orange up there. I think this is super fun. And then we have our creativity for all down in the corner. So it's feeling pretty balanced to me. Not too bad. I think we could probably work right here with some of the pieces, getting them to sync up a little bit. So maybe let's do this kind of thing. Let's pull this up there. We could finagle with this all day, but we don't unfortunately have time for that. We only have 1 minute left. But what I want you to do and what I want to remind you to do is hopefully you can finish your promotional flyers. And what I want you to do is join our Discord. Discord's right over there, bit.ly/AI Discord. Very, very great community for you to post and give some feedback. And what I want you to do is take a screenshot of the hierarchy that you have created, right? We used 1, 2, 3, 4 different fonts here, but they all work together because they have the same voice, right? This person feels fun who's saying this. So post your type hierarchy, try to do it with 5 levels and see what you can do. And then maybe try to make a promo flyer. You can add more design to it, make it a little more refined, but my focus is seeing the typography that you're using. From there, take a screenshot and post it over here in Discord. You can post in the DCC feedback over here underneath the Daily Creative Challenge. We see people posting from past challenges as well. You'll get some feedback and join the great community. So post your work, take a screenshot, and I will see you again for another Illustrator challenge here on Adobe Live every day pretty much, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time at behance.net/Adobe Live. Bye.